And I'm in focus. All right, I am here with Trent Horn from Catholic Answers, who's just given his talk here at the Catholic Men's Conference here at Assumption College. Trent, you received very well.
Thank you.
And I love the Columbo reference because I was just watching Columbo last night, and I absolutely love the series. Can you briefly summarize how you talked about the Columbo method when dealing with people concerning faith and the questions?
Sure. The Columbo method, also called the Socratic method, is a way of asking people questions rather than just giving them answers, asking them questions to cause them to reflect on their own beliefs to see if they're sound, and then to offer them truth in place of any false beliefs that they may have. So by asking questions and listening and finding common ground can be a very effective way to evangelize people.
Now, one of the arguments that I've made a lot concerning Catholicism in particular and Christianity in general is that the reason to believe it is because it's true, and if it's not true, we're just an Elks Club that meets on Sundays. And we have 2,000 years of history, with all of the background of literally millennia of explaining this. Does it frustrate you sometimes when you have to bring back an argument that you know it's this argument's been made 100 years ago, this argument's been made 500 years ago, this argument's been made 1,000 years ago, and you have to keep teaching it, it seems?
Well, one can feel a sense of boredom sometimes in doing a repetitive task unless you find a particular joy within that task that gives it meaning. So yes, a certain objection may have been recycled for hundreds or thousands of years, but for this person, it's a brand new objection for them. For this person, they have heard it for the first time. So as long as our conversations are always focused on the novelty of the person that we are engaging, who is struggling with this, then we won't feel that we're stuck in a dull, meaningless, repetitive cycle. Even if we've heard an objection before, we can approach it with vigor and being filled with the Holy Spirit to help this individual person made in the image and likeness of God come to know God in a deeper way.
And how important is that to remember that the person that we're discussing our faith with is a child of God, subject to that we are required to love and subject to forgive if we're offended?
It's absolutely essential. If we forget that, apologetics just turns into a verbal boxing match. It turns into a game of wits. It loses its rightful place as being the brother of evangelization, the servant of evangelization, to help clear away intellectual obstacles to spread the good news about Jesus Christ. If you lose focus of the person, your apologetics become hollow and you are in danger of losing the faith yourself.
Now, I was interviewing a seminarian earlier today. He talked about the pillars of the priesthood, one of them being reason. How often do you run into people who are surprised at how much reason there is, how much intellectual heft there is to the faith and the beliefs that have come down, again, tested for thousands of years?
Often. I come in contact with people who think that our faith is simply a recitation of the Bible and of some church documents. They are not aware of the great theological tradition, intellectual history within Catholicism of great thinkers like Augustine, Aquinas, Cardinal John Henry Newman, so many others. They're simply unaware. Even of the 20th century, the writings of Pope St. John Paul II or Pope Benedict XVI. That if they were aware of the riches of these intellectual treasures, I think they would see so much more the faith has to offer them. And that's our job to be able to share it with them.
Now, obviously you point to Catholic Answers and your own show to give people the answers that they need when people will come to you. Because I'll have people challenge me and so forth. When you have people challenging you, and you say you come back with a question,
yeah.
What's the spirit you have to have as you come back with that question? How dangerous is it to, like, as you mentioned, a verbal boxing match, to try and land the blow rather than try and lift the heart?
Well, you worry about losing the argument. You could, as Fulton Sheen once said, you can win an argument and lose a soul. If you come at it with a brash, confrontational persona of landing a question that is going to lock the person in and make them feel dumb, then they're not going to have a conversation with you. I mean, it's okay to ask a challenging question that exposes a flaw in the person's thinking, but you should always do it with the person's benefit, taking the questions slowly, asking it in a calm tone, and just saying, I just would like to know more about what you believe, and I'm just trying to understand this from my perspective.
And finally, you made a great point about The Holy Spirit does the work. We plant the seed, the Holy Spirit does the work. How important is it to remember that God does the saving and we might do a little legwork?
Well, as I said in my talk in John 15, Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches, apart from me you can do nothing. When we start to think it's all on us, it's all going to fall apart. We have to always know that we are there serving God, and we answer His call to go out and evangelize. And so we must be always willing to pray and listen to Him.
And if people want to find out more about your stuff or find any of your books, where should they go?
They can go to Catholic.com, also my website, TrentHorn.com. And if they'd like, they can listen to me at my podcast, which is available at TrentHornPodcast.com.
Trent Horn, thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thank you.